now, but they still have another team from quite afar to also deal with. And that will be TRA. That will be in a little bit of trouble. It's going to be long high over the top. Day trade? Okay.
All right.
I guess that it's
out
just
of nowhere.
Going for a full flex against ISG.
I think it's a rotational thing. I just caught it on the map stream. They seem to be on a road somewhere. Caught out ISG on a rotate. So, and cleanly from day trade too, not losing a single member. Wish we could have seen that one, but sometimes it happens that quickly that we can't catch it. Unfortunately, Unicorn Cyber fighting, or at least toying with the idea of fighting towards RXC on the top of this hill here, but they don't really want it right now. Fighting for a spot like this phase one is only really worth it if it's a god compound you know that is probably going to get fed much later on. Not necessarily worth fighting for this hill right here. Maybe something else though for Unicorn Cyber. RXC going to take the compound that they look at from the top. I mean, that's one of the reasons why they're up there, is so they can gather as much information as possible. And their rewards will be whatever compound they deem to be free. Panic on the rotate too. Decent start from them, remember. They've got a little bit of momentum to work with. Whether or not that momentum will actually translate into more kills is completely up to the individuals of Panic. Figure out whether or not, but I guess figure out first where they want to go. Got to park themselves up somewhere. They don't want to be driving for too long. That just kind of indicates to us that there's a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of nerves, and I don't think that's really what Panic are feeling right now. Puch is down, Jun gets it, and Reluctant Squad continue to perform decently in these first few games.
Oh boy. They're getting a little bit of pressure coming from distance, and Day Trade loses one just like that. And with them pretty much separated on a 2-2 split, I guess like they don't really have the angles to see where the shots were coming from June, while they basically have one member to turtle in. Now Norris will have a clear idea, so I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to at least garner something out of going for a long exchange, but I think for now, with that form of deficit, Day Trade might just sit back a little bit more. Belmoff as well as the other member may not be able to actually go in for the commit, as it's going to be a little bit of coverage to be done to even get much out of Whitefish. So spots out some movements from the far end. Day Trade at least started off on a good note once again, getting themselves the 4 points at the moment. The highest eliminations that we do have so far in the span of 10 minutes. Well, Teddy gonna be tapping onto Delia. You get the tires pop. This is just gonna be bad news for the side of Whitefish. But for now, they are pretty much good to go onto a different spot. Whitefish is gonna secure the direct center of this current phase, where GLS is still on the outskirts, looking for the right timing to enter. There's just gonna be Belly Tie as well as Unicorn Cyber that will be maybe guarding them later on. So we'll see what happens over on that section. Meanwhile, it's going to be AG making a deep convoy, trying to dissect some parts of the map, as they will have one member across the river. PMA, they're looking to be pretty solid to start off with here, with those 3 pointers that they've been able to pick up. And here comes Panic. They have repositioned in between and will be able to get themselves perhaps an edge against the rest.
They find themselves on the edge with Armory Gaming in front of them. And if Armory Gaming is opened up onto here by FTF, Happy takes some shots, one lands, but no more than that. It's potentially an opportunity here for Panic to get ahead of Armory Gaming. Armory Gaming have kind of set themselves up here on the edge to cover all their bases. They've got 2 on one side of the river and then 2 on the other side. And it can be a lot of pressure if a 4-man of FTF decides to breach onto Shanks and Riz here, or at least just apply a little bit of pressure. In fact, I was wrong. They don't have 2 on the other side of the river. They have 1 on the other side of the river because they lost Jame earlier on. So a little bit more pressure now onto Armory, but smart to put 2 members on this side where you know teams are going to be coming in from the edge, and so you're able to pressure them off a lot easier, and I guess put on a bigger show for those teams to make them know that presence is known. If presence is known, then generally teams will at least consider hesitating in terms of rotating into that team or around that team or taking a fight with that team. And Armory Gaming have obviously announced presence as 2 in this compound, and that's enough to persuade FTF to get out of there. And it's also enough to persuade Lightwork to get out of there. He's going to back off toward the rest of his team. He was out there as a little bit of a scout. Dangerous work here from Lightwork, but he does survive on 100 HP, and in fact, he's going back in for seconds.
Yeah, and good decision making coming from the rest of Panic as well to basically avoid that bridge ever since, of course, Armory revealed their presence over onto that corner, because that could have been a really deadly choke point, especially with from the future coming in from the back. Eventually, if it does close in maybe towards the western end, then that is going to be a little bit more problematic. So they will have a lot of spacing to basically put in some good work, and basing off of where Armory Gaming is currently positioned, they're hoping to have the zone closed in, and by then, who knows, they might have Valley Thai crossing alongside with the rest of FTF. So it's more about the setups right now for the teams as they wait for phase 2 to close out. Panic now being spotted up by Pang Skur. Gonna be at least applying a little bit of pressure. Dopeness having the MK12 versus an ARM. Oh, I don't think he knows that there's an ARM on the opposing end just yet. As we see the shift going on, it's going to go towards the favor of RXE as well as PMA at the moment.
Yeah, RXE, PMA in a decent position, Unicorn Cyber as well, although they're a little bit split, so you can imagine them regrouping quite quickly unless they kind of want to hold their edge, which I wouldn't blame them if they wanted to do that either. D&E, they're not in the zone on the southern side. Space to play with, fields to play with, but certainly they've got to start moving in a little bit, make sure that they're not wasting too much time getting into this zone and hoping that no one leapfrogs them. Armory Gaming finally contested a little bit by Panic. I believe this was the position that Dynasty was in on the other side of the river. And obviously, if you're a solo in a compound like this, your car is ready to get out of there. It's parked in the opposite direction to where teams are going to breach you from. And I think that it was exactly the case. Panic locked up, and Dynasty just got the hell out of there and grouped up with the rest of his team. Got to be careful when you're playing as 3. Losing another member basically solidifies defeat. We've seen people do wonderful work as 2, but it is a rare occurrence, especially in a lobby as stacked as this. Nurans feels like he's just getting out of that one. Those Mark 12 shots were incredibly deadly and on point. I think also Reluctant Squad know that the rest of Day Trade are below them. I want to assume that because there's a compound down there. I think Day Trade too. So RS should know that Day Trade is in front of them. They can hear that car moving now as well. Whether or not they opt to go for a little bit of rotational camp is up to them. Picking off in the distance, Pankska's gone down. Maybe it's an opportunity for Armory Gaming to get involved in third party this.
Oh, there's a little bit of chaos here in the Great Migration of Craig. Trying to stay alive here with this convoy going on. Matt Pig hoping to actually pick one up as we still have another target on the opposing end, trying to go in for the trades, hoping that he has enough bullets to basically work this out. FTF will basically sacrifice Chimoy as AG managing to pick one up, as they've been holding on to that compound for the longest time for this scenario to happen. So great work from the Thai squad. There is going to be Pixel Stars right behind AG though. As we look in the map, they will back in Matt Pig, the Mad Lad, trying to actually flush them out of this site.
Oh, the bot through the window. I swear it never pans out, man. It just never pans out. Shanks has been traded out, though, by one of Pixel Stars, flushed as well. So it was almost acting as a bait, essentially. Looks like Pixel Stars will come out on top. Dimisty's here to back it up, though. He's put himself inside these buildings. A little bit of a building that's a bit further back. Riz is getting out here, trying to get in the faces of Pixel Stars, but there's one on his fence. He has no idea. Dimisty's got 2 with a nade. If Riz can get this one, it's a disaster for Pixel Stars. It's all over the place. That double nade basically secured their demise. Riz can now just peek over this fence. If he knows where Pankska is, it's game over. It's a 1v2. The dynamic duo of Armory Gaming putting on a show for us here. Pixel Stars absolutely decimated.
Yeah, and basically they did put in quite a lot of effort in order to actually seek opportunities like this, but Armory Gaming so well prepared coming in from this direction. And oh boy, what? A motor hit? No! At this corner? Oh boy, Armory just got wiped out, and it opens up the space for Panksker. Moments like this don't just happen in scenarios in competitive play, but wow. Where was that from?
That's devastating for Armory. They were so pumped up. The momentum was so heavily in their favor. And then Pankska just comes out as soon as one of them gets knocked by a mortar. What a shot by Pivy. What a mortar. We've seen a couple sharp ones today. Flash was the other one who hit some incredibly good mortars back in game 1, I believe, or maybe game 2. Either way, mortars have been certainly a factor in tonight's games.
That's almost miraculous, right? The way that it all pans out perfectly for the side of Pangsker. Managing to survive to tell the tale. And now the Pal's gonna be able to actually spot one inside the city, as the rest of Unicon Cyber has been able to get themselves a safe spot in the terminal, and would be fancying a chance to basically pick more out of the side of Reluctant Esports. RS wouldn't be able to provide any sort of help to Hong F, so they are on the other side of the outskirts though, so Reluctant East squad instead gets terminated by the rest of Forest.
Oh, funny how that pans out. Valley tie now, one side of the road, Panic on the other. Panic's in a little bit of a bowl though. A lot easier to lob those nades, not only into a little bit of a bowl, but especially when you have a target. And that target right now for Valley Tie is the car of Pivy, blown to smithereens. Not a chance for him to survive, do anything about that. If he ran away, then he'd be running out into the complete open. Speaking of in the complete open, Unk is giving it a little bit of an opportunity for Dusky. Has to land these heads if Panic wants any opportunity to get back in this fight, but I don't think it's going to happen. Looks like Valley Tire are solidifying their dominance over Panic here. I say that, in fact, they've been shot in the back. Uka in the background, Pankska as well. This guy is ever present, man. He is inevitable at this point.
It almost feels like Pankska's invincible. I mean, this guy just basically cuts through. I didn't thought that he would still survive, as he was just by the edge of the play zone. It still is, but it seems like the Blue Zone will basically manage that for him. He says, okay, time's up.
What an abrupt end.
Yeah, I was about to hype him up like till no tomorrow, you know, like if he could basically pull into the top 8 or maybe even top 10 even. But Valentine going for the drive-by kids, hoping to join into the party, is it's gonna be dopeness that will be able to get that knockdown. Latay managing to clean one up, and from the pan to the fire it is Latay continuing with the AUG shots. Gonna avoid a little bit more of those deflates as he will pop the med kit immediately. The RXE is gonna make it rain from afar. I don't think he's got much space to work with, but he'll make do for now. But forward back, Panic trading blows. Valentine Esports also locking horns with the side of RXE. This four-way warfare by the edge of it is going to be pretty rough for either sides.
Oh, Panic is loving life right now. They see all these knocks in the kill feed. They want a piece of this. I love this for Valley Tai. I love the aggression coming in from Latte, and it's going to secure him a couple kills too. No placement points right now. We're down to the top 10, but he'll take those 2 points. 4 total for Latte, but I think his time is coming to an end. Panic on the backside, looking to put a stop to his reign of terror right now over this little valley. RXC as well getting involved. What can DNE do? Seriously, what could DNE do? Valley Tai, not even a factor in that fight. DNE were just trying to survive against the onslaught of RXC, and then all of a sudden you've got Latte and his teammate just pulling up behind DNE out of nowhere, just completely out of nowhere, and laying shots into them, and DNE is completely caught off guard, and from that point forward, it's so hard for them to do anything. RXC, Latte, they clean up.
Yeah, it was pretty solid stuff as we see the rest of RXC also having some good coverage to be able to rotate on the other corners of the northern section of the map. Meanwhile, we go towards the side of Day Trade. Spot one moving vehicle, and it seems like that's already going to be a knock onto the members. First, unfortunate for Olympus, he's a little bit too far off from his teammates while they're dealing with the rest of Whitefish. Norrens will go ahead to pick up Hong Nam. Well, suspect will be able to go in for the exchange while Scappy going up close and personal. Got some flashbangs to work with, but he's cut across, going so close, but he doesn't really know. He's sort of past the smoke. Scappy's still wondering.
He has no idea. Tiara's got past. No idea, and Tiara's got past, but it doesn't matter. Forrest is there for the trade. Scappy, meanwhile, knocked. That could have been disastrous for Forrest, but it seems like they got off a little bit better than Whitefish. Runax now, I believe, is the last one up. Stuck inside the other building. He has got that first aid off, but oh, he's also got the Panzerfaust. He's good for one. Good for a minimum of one, and we'll see what he can do from there, but he doesn't even get his one. Can't even land that. In a moment of pressure like this, I don't blame him. And this is Forest just taking fights on two different fronts. Panic trying to get involved, and Master's just here to completely deny them, stop them in their tracks. They wanted to third party this, but Master is stopping them right now.
And he's really got to go and recover for now. There's not much that you basically do about Scappy being left outside of the building, while KM try to hold off the defense, but with all these flashes making it a little bit harder, all cornered up, so they got to make these angles work, especially now with some smokes to be popped right in. I guess it will basically buy them a little bit of space. Runax trying to trade right back, but here comes the rest of the members of Forest to clean up the house. And there we have it. Heading in with 8 more teams remaining. Forest absolutely popping off in these final few moments.
Excellent from them. Oh, and there's Faps all popping off to Small Town Kid down. RXC have been a constant factor in this game, it looks like, but they've still got challenges ahead of them, namely a solo for FTF in that shack. Forest as well. They've been consistent throughout the first 3 games. It seems like they're not going to slow down anytime soon. Top 8 for them, placement points already gained, but of course they are going to want more. Panic, what kind of defense can you put up against this? The onus is on Panic to catch these guys as they exit those buildings. Smokes are up to try and create a wall that Forest can use to evade Panic, and I think they might even be able to do that. There's a little bit of a ridge on the left side of Forest that they can utilize, and Panic is trying desperately to not let them reach it, but I don't think they have any choice. Scappy might be left behind. It might be too late for him. There's no smoking between him and safety. He's almost certain to go down. If Panic don't watch him, it'd be an incredible throw from them to let him go by.
They just really have to fight this. And Scappy's got no way out. Blue Zone's already closing in, and he's just basically relying on a couple of seconds of smoke for a cover for now. He's got the Panther. Oh, he connects it. KM down, but then Scappy trading back. Forest, they're pulling this one out of nowhere, and with the reload going through, he's got to switch up.
That's insane. Forest genuinely scrape by. That is unreal to survive with all 3 there. Panic
Literally saved by the bell.
Yeah, genuinely saved by the blue. He ran out of ammo, and Destiny said, "I got you, bro. I got you." Unbelievable from Forest. 10 kills to their name too. This is some incredible consistency from them so far.
Couldn't beat the script, it seems. Now,
yeah,
it's our top 5 here with Day Trade from the future, Forest, PMA, as well as RXE. Each one actually taking different sides, with PMA directly in the center. So perhaps that's going to be a good chance for them to stock up with all the loots that's currently available. Massive drops, basically hand-delivered to them. Meanwhile, we got a lot of good weapons on almost everybody out there. Dragunov for Pete, as he's trying to look towards the rock. He might have actually spotted that solo member of Day Trade for now, Flash. I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to make it out, especially with the pack of RXE that may actually go towards his way later on. Scappy, after going for that recovery, look at Forest. They got a massive 10-pointer out of all the battles that they've had over the south side.
Masters also picked up himself a Mark 14. Forest, kind of like Unicorn Cyber, just survive no matter what the cost. Helped out potentially by fate, destiny, the universe, karma, whatever you want to call it. They've got something on their side. Day Trade's still in the picture though. On top of that hill, they've got a bit of high ground to work with, and Belmoth here on the low ground, just making sure that Forest don't do anything too crazy. I think I just heard a mortar pop off. I'm not sure.
Sounds like it.
Maybe that's the...
Oh, there.
No, yeah, it is the mortar.
It is.
It's onto RXC. Day Trade's trying to deal some damage. Oh, Fap's like... Nah, Fap's annoyed. You're trying to mortar us? Well, here's my own.
Yeah, a much more accurate weapon for sure. Going for the crates. So, RXE, I think they've been doing really well. They technically haven't really left that spot for quite a long time, and they have been able to control potentially 30% of the map right now. So they would definitely have a huge impact heading into this late game. Meanwhile, Forest trying to close in from the south side. That may or may not overwhelm PMA. Once again, PMA playing a very solid defensive game throughout the course of Taego. And I really want to see whether if they will be able to make it all the way through the last run here. Who knows? Maybe this might just be their chance for a chicken dinner with PMA last round securing a top 4 finish. And once again, a lot of these teams really have found that momentum, found that consistency. Even FTF squeezing by with that one man and decide, though this round looks to be a lot rougher for the side of FTF with only that 1 point gain so far. Not sure if they're going to be able to pull in more, but I guess he's happy for now.
Belmoth down. RXC gets the flush though, steals it away from Teddy. Another Mark 14 in play, actually. I guess when you've got this many crates dropping around the final circle, we're going to end up with a lot of 3 gear and a lot of crate weapons. Rooftops as well for the Mark 14s to sit on top of later on, but Forest have decided that it's time to push inside the compound. Either that, or the zone decided them to push in. Either way, Pete's got the opening with a nade. PMA already had an excellent defense in this compound earlier on against a emergency parachuting team. Different scenario this time round. The team's coming in from the ground, but it doesn't matter. Pete's gone down to Flash, but at least they've got a kill onto Forest. So Forest's momentum has been stopped just that little bit more. Teddy suffering in this blue zone grenade, just able to survive.
Yeah, making sure that he'll be able to basically last a little bit longer with a couple of boosts to be able to work out if there happens to be a couple more blue zone grenades to be thrown in. But you just look at the south side, like all these teams in the compounds are the ones struggling at the end of it all because RXE, they got that open space to play with for the next phase, and they just got to settle the scores and pick up a couple of pointers here before they have to face the music against RXE. But who knows, they might be able to actually go up against RXE as they are also swarming in from the looks of it, or they're just basically holding out until these guys have to step up to the compound. So they trade gaming, they'll take what they can get. The moment that these other squads leave the area to get into the circle, that's the perfect time for day trade to pick up a few more.
Fap again on that Orm. And yeah, this is Rapsiak pushing in. They have the zone, like you said. They've got that central line that they can kind of control. No one can really cross it. They've also got control of the edge, to be honest with you. The zone's not entirely inside the compound. So RXE have an opportunity here to just sit and wait, play passively, wait for people to come to them. But that's not like RXE. That's not like RXE at all. They're going to get up in people's faces and they put themselves in a really fantastic position. And I love it. I think this might be the winning play for RXE. They set themselves up incredibly nicely. And what we're going to see now is every other team inside this compound tearing into each other, weakening each other, destroying vests, destroying helmets, claiming lives. Scappy's just trying to get out of there. Maybe run across the road, but he hesitates. He double backs. RXE will claim him from that rooftop, and now it's down to PMA and Day Trade and that one solo of FTF to contest with RXE's reign of dominance.
Boy, oh boy, it's going to be rough if you're not on RXE side. Everyone's just trying to book it. 1 HP left for the side of From the Future. And somehow, Happy managed to survive all the way to a top 2 finish.
Unreal. Unreal. RXE claim it. As you know, they absolutely will off the back of that excellent play. But a nice couple solo maneuvers, and obviously I feel like the highlight for us in that game is Forest, but the winner for that game, of course, is RXE, and I have to give them a lot of credit. If any lesser team may have sat back a bit, waited for people to leave the compound, wait for them to walk into your crosshairs and play a little bit more passive, that's not RXE. And RXE make what I think is the winning play by pushing themselves up to that compound, identifying that it's a weak side of the compound, putting themselves on the roof, and making sure that they win that game. So that's a very dominant display of skill from RXE.
Yeah, and I just love the fact that they have that advantage and they basically push that advantage forward. Like, if they do allow some teams to pass, that's a lot of points that they could have potentially gained to be lost out. So yeah, they were very decisive. They managed to eventually choke literally every other solo targets out. So good going for them. They managed to walk out of this matchup with a hefty amount of points. And while, of course, surprisingly enough, I was expecting maybe day trade or even, like you said, Forest that has done so well throughout the course of the game to be able to reap a little bit more. But of course, that form of an instance, it really could have just been anybody to last till the top 2. But overall side of PMA, I think they've really played a great defensive game here in Takeoff.
Oh, I didn't even realize in this highlight there that there was a team kill involved. That's devastating. Didn't notice that in the moment, but that's probably what lost it. Pangska, he definitely had a couple highlight moments here and there from him. This, to me, was just so sick from Armory Gaming. Like I said, dynamic duo, Riz, Dynasty, they always show up, and every time they're in a clutch, you never count them out of it. And then to lose that all to a mortar from Pivy, just off in the distance somewhere, it just came out of nowhere. He knocks one of these Armory Gaming players, and then Pangska pounces and claims the other one. And then from there, we thought maybe he could do more, but then he dies to the blue. So it's a little bit of an abrupt end to an otherwise exciting life.
Yeah, literally raining on their parade. And then we've got this form of crossbar going on, which we saw.
I loved this.
So many chaotic fights breaking loose. And then we see Latte taking full advantage, although being stuck into a very difficult position. He just basically did whatever he can to basically close off a round with very good amount of points to book out the round.
I still feel bad for D&E in that moment. They're just trying to survive, and then all of a sudden these cars come out of nowhere and people start shooting at them from a spot they didn't even know existed. This is also kind of pivotal for me. Forest in this moment should have been dead 10 times over. You feel like that Panzerfaust from Runax has got it. You feel like that Panzerfaust from Dusky might have secured it as well, but they survive. And of course, Suspect here dying to the blue as Scappy runs out of ammo. 15 all the way down to 0. And then Suspect doesn't land the remainder of the bullets he actually needs to get that kill, and the blue takes him out. It's a moment of divine intervention for Forest. Unfortunately, they don't get much more off the back of that. They don't even reach the top 4. So to survive like that and then get nothing more is kind of devastating. But to get to that point in the first place was commendable.
Yeah. I don't think that there's any words to put it better than what you just said. Divine intervention. Like, literally, Scappy, from what it looks to be almost a dot of HP left, and he somehow managed to walk away alive and also play for that top 4 ending. Of course, by the end of it all, RXE, they have been able to secure the best spot possible. But from the looks of it, RXE have been taking that center stage for the longest of time. They have been unshaken throughout the course of the run. It really shows that they've been able to not only manage the area very well, but also have actively seeked out for those opportunities by the end of it. It goes to tell you that this Vietnamese squad is really not here to sit around and wait for the chicken dinner to be delivered. They also did so much work in the midst of the round.
Yeah, I mean, I'll reiterate it, right? If you're watching that, you're watching RXC in that endgame, and you're thinking that the smart play there is to sit back, wait for everyone to leave that compound, just let everyone come to us, right? You can play it that way. If you're RXC, you can certainly play it that way if you wanted to. I think you open yourself up to risks playing it that way. You open yourself up to a stronger team exiting that compound. You could probably still get the win. I think RXC were in a fantastic spot no matter what, because obviously the blue is shifting that compound out. But with RXC taking matters into their own hands, what they do, I think it was probably based off a lot of information as well. They identified that I think it was just a solo of day trade in that side of the compound. And so knowing that, you could pretty confidently walk up to that compound and start to take fights and make the winning play. And that's what they did. And I think doing that, obviously it's got its own risks. If the player on the roof goes down, if any of the fights with the day trade player go incorrectly, then everything can go kind of wrong, but that's not what happens. RXC play it to perfection. That's the winning play, right? What they could have done was the safe play. What they made was the winning play.
And of course, I don't think that there's any better execution than that. And when we look into how teams have been coping so far, especially in the early game, I think like this by far to me is one of my favorites, not only because of all these miraculous moments out there. I love all these different types of weaponry put into good use is what I love to see. So with that, we'll see what Miramar has to offer us, but we'll take a short break, and when we do come back, it's back-to-back rounds of Miramar to close the night.
Welcome to Update 28.2. Join us for our 7th anniversary celebrations, an all-new SMG experience in the arcade, and finally, the recall system update. We've got lots of surprises in store for you to celebrate our 7th birthday. Erangel's school will be transformed into a festive 7th anniversary venue. Plus, keep an eye out for throwable cupcakes and surprise gift boxes scattered across the starting island of each map. We've been hard at work balancing the SMGs to offer a more unique experience and accommodate various gunplay strategies. The arcade is all set for you to try out these changes, so get that early feel and let us know what you think. And there's more exciting news. Based on your positive feedback, we're expanding the recall system to include Vikendi and Tego. Check out the patch notes to discover all the details of this update. Lastly, this patch also includes weapon mastery updates, world bug fixes, and performance tweaks. Be sure to dive into the patch notes for all the details. And we'll see you on the battlegrounds.